Yeah, I thought I'd check in with everybody, see how y'all are doing now that you have been totally and completely abandoned by your government. Thought I'd see how y'all feel about that. Let's see. The extended unemployment benefits ran out 2 weeks ago, and the eviction moratorium is set up to end at the end of this month. Congress and the Senate and the White House have all been going back and forth on trying to get a deal put together to continue bailing out from the coronavirus pandemic and the complete economic disaster it's turned into. But it seems after negotiating, they were just like, hey, you know what? I think we're all going to go home. And they left. And they're not set to go back into session again until next month. So for those of you who are now 2 weeks into not getting extended unemployment, you're looking at a minimum now of 8 weeks. If they signed a deal the day they came back and then it takes you a week to apply and 2 weeks to kick in, yeah. So you're now looking at no federal unemployment for 8 weeks. And that's for those of you who actually qualified for unemployment. So when we say that unemployment is running out for people, that's only for the people who actually managed to qualify. For everybody else, they're going on 5 months of poverty. If you need to know more about them, just Google spike in homelessness, and that's what happened to everybody who couldn't qualify for unemployment. But don't worry, you're next. So, real quick breakdown of where everything imploded. Donald Trump on Friday once again said he was ready to pump stimulus money into the U.S. economy, hard hit by the coronavirus crisis. I really don't want to hear about Donald Trump pumping hard. It's just, yeah. Yeah, there's not enough soap to wash that image out of my head. So thank you there, writer from Reuters. Republican-controlled Senate and Democratic-controlled House have gone into informal recess after talks ended with the parties $2 trillion apart. A series of posts on Twitter, Trump said he was prepared to take unilateral action, this time to provide Americans with direct payments, as well as money for small businesses and state and local governments. Democrats are holding this up, the president wrote repeatedly in a series of tweets. Trump's move came a day after he said he was blocking talks to prevent Democrats from providing more money for the Postal Service or state and local election officials struggling to prepare for November 3rd elections. I'm sorry, let's rewind the tape. Donald Trump says Democrats are holding this up. This comes a day after he said he was blocking talks. Yeah, that's some peak Trumpian logic right there. It's what do you mean? Yeah. That's what I'm doing. Yeah. It's not clear what authority he would have to dispense additional relief. The U.S. Constitution gives Congress, not the president, the power to determine taxes and spending, which limits Trump's ability to pump meaningful amounts of stimulus money into the economy on its own. Okay, I'm banned from Twitter, but if any of you all are on Twitter, if you could do me a favor and maybe tweet at Reuters and tell them to stop using the words Trump and pump in the same sentence, I would really appreciate that. Thank you. Whew. Again, I would like to keep in mind that we blew past it, but the reason why this is holding up is because Trump doesn't want the Democrats putting money into the post office or local and state election boards. Stay tuned for future episodes about Donald Trump totally not giving a fuck about election integrity and how he's totally and completely going to break down voting by mail and crush election boards, and he's literally just going to try to steal the election in broad daylight. But give us a week or two. I'll get to that. We got to talk about this first. U.S. share prices dropped earlier this week when Republican Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, House Speaker Pelosi disclosed there were no coronavirus talks scheduled. Democrats offered to reduce their proposal by $1 trillion during the negotiations with the White House. The White House rejected this offer. Now, I could go into a whole partisan rant and this and that, but I don't want to do that because at the end of the day, everybody took their ball and went home on this. And yes, that includes Nancy Pelosi. It includes the Democratic leadership. It includes the Republican leadership. I understand there's negotiating. There's leverage. It's a process. We're in an election year. People are waiting to see if their polls go up or down by, being strong about not adding debt. I get all that. However, I thought it would be better use of our time today to take a look at how well off the people are who are essentially signing the death warrant to your economic health and are pretty much guaranteeing that unless you have a lot of equity stashed away, you are going to be homeless at some time in the near future. Before I go into this, I'm going to remind you all what the difference is between a million, a billion, and a trillion, because we throw those words around, and I'm about to throw around a lot more of them. So to put this into perspective, I know they're words, they're one letter apart, but there's a vast difference. So real quick, if you were putting this in relationship to time, 1 million seconds is equal to 11 and a half days, okay? A million is like a week and a half. A billion seconds is 32 years. Okay? So the difference between a million and a billion is a week and a half and 32 years. Difference between a billion and a trillion seconds is 31,000 years. So do you understand how huge the differences are between a million, a billion, and a trillion? A week and a half, 32 years, 31,000 years. Okay, we're good on that. So let's take a look at the two leaders real quick. Here's your reminder. Mitch McConnell has an estimated net worth of $10.4 million, and he's been in the Senate since 1984. This guy has literally seen every single bad piece of legislation that has run through the government in the last 4 decades. Approximately half of McConnell's estimated wealth comes from a $5 million gift from his father-in-law in 2008. Other major assets include Vanguard Index funds he holds jointly with his wife and the daughter of the person who gave him $5 million, Transportation Secretary Elaine Chao. Elaine Chao also collected a salary during her tenure on the boards of Wells Fargo and News Corp. Okay? Let's go down and visit Nancy real quick, because again, I'm not going to let anybody off the hook on this one. Nancy Pelosi is worth $16 million. Her and her husband, Paul Pelosi, have amassed their wealth through his business as a real estate and venture capital investment and consulting firm owner, Financial Leasing Services, whose holdings include a Napa Valley vineyard, worth about $5 million. Paul also has a large chunk of stocks in Apple, Disney, Comcast, and Facebook. Okay, so that's the leader of the House and the leader of the Senate. Here are the two people who decided to punt and go, I think we're just going to go home because it's our vacation. It's August recess. It's been really stressful being here working for 3 weeks. I need to go home and chill out in my house and count my $16 million. Okay, woo! Got to make sure it's all there. So let's take a look. Top 10 real quick. These are the people who are not going to give anybody anything because they can't decide if you're worth $400 a week or $200 a week. Keeping that in mind. Oh, by the way, all of these people, they earn $200,000 a year in salary. Doesn't matter. While they're home for the next 3 weeks in their big ass mansions, they're all getting paid max salary, and their full tier Blue Cross Blue Shield insurance is paid for also. Okay. So they don't have your concerns. Their fridges are stocked. Their cars are waxed. Their houses are painted. Their yards are mowed, and their security guards are well paid. Don't worry, they're going to be okay, I promise. Coming in at number 10, Donald Byer of Virginia, worth $31 million. He made his fortune running car dealerships around Washington, D.C. And used car information website Carfax is his top campaign contributor. Coming in at number 9, Scott Peters of California, $32 million. Yeah, much of his wealth is from investments he made with his earnings from years as a corporate tax attorney. His wife, Lynn, also has a small fortune from serving as president and CEO of private equity firm Cameron Holdings since 1993. A small fortune. Coming in at number 8, Paul Mitchell of Michigan. Paul Mitchell, estimated worth $37.7 million, made much of his wealth as a corporate executive at Chrysler, then as CEO of Ross Education, a health industry training firm. Mitchell spent $3.6 million of his own fortune to win the seat. Wow. Hey, good to know if you got $3.6 million just lying around. You can run for the House. Noted. I'll file that away for, when I get my tax return and I have all that money. Coming in at number 7, Trey Hollingsworth of Indiana. $50 million. Woo! Trey. Rolling in the big 5-0 with your rag top down so your hair can blow. I like it. Yeah. Hollingsworth wealth is largely from his daddy's Knoxville-based company, Hollingsworth Capital Partners, which refurbishes old abandoned factories and industrial buildings. Gentrifier. Hollingsworth launched his campaign in his adopted home state of Indiana with over $3 million of his own money. Daddy's money. Coming in at number 6, Senator Dianne Feinstein. $58.5 million. She's been there just about as long as Mitch McConnell. Let's see. Feinstein is married to Richard Bloom, founder of Bloom Capital, an equity investment firm that has stakes in multiple industries, including healthcare, media, retail, finance, and transportation. Feinstein herself has $25 million plus stake in Carlton Hotel Properties. She has represented the most populous state in the Senate since 1992. Impressive. That's a long grift. Coming in at number 5, Senator Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut, $70 million. Good Lord, $70 million. Damn. Like several other lawmakers on this list, Blumenthal married into his fortune. In 1982, after serving for 5 years as a U.S. attorney, Blumenthal married Cynthia Malkin, daughter of Manhattan real estate mogul Peter Malkin. He's worth like $2 billion. Let's see, coming in at number 4, Vern Buchanan of Florida, $74 million. $74 million. Damn. How'd you get that $74 million there, Vern? Let's see. He earned much of his fortune through car dealerships and through his involvement in charter jet and yacht leasing. Yeah, I got a funny feeling there's a downturn in the economy. Charter jets and yachts, probably a good industry to be in. Before the success he found in Florida, Buchanan founded American Speedy Printing in Michigan in the mid-70s, growing the business to 730 locations before declaring bankruptcy. Coming in at number 3, Senator Mark Warner of Virginia, $90 million. Good Lord. How the hell did you get $90 million, Mark? Let's find out. Let's see. Mark made much of his wealth as a venture capitalist. He also had businesses in energy and real estate and had an early stake in the wireless company Nextel, which was eventually bought by Sprint, which eventually merged with T-Mobile. Today, much of Warner's fortune, estimated over $90 million, is held in a blind trust. Wow. Shame our president couldn't do that, huh? Coming in at number 2, Michael McCall of Texas, $113 million. Damn, in the trips now. How'd you get that money, Mike? How'd you get the money? Let's see. He amassed much of his wealth through his marriage to Linda McCall, whose father founded Clear Channel. The company, now called iHeartMedia, is a $6.3 billion company. iHeartMedia is a leading contributor to McCall's re-election campaign. Well, it's not his daddy, it's his wife's daddy, but still daddy money. Number 1, top of the chart. Let's hear it. Representative Greg Gianforte of Montana. $135 million. Damn. How'd you get the money, Greg? Greg amassed his fortune after founding a software company in the mid-1980s, which he eventually sold to McAfee Associates. In 1997, he founded Right Now Technologies, a cloud-based customer service program, which was bought for over $1 billion by Oracle. So, these top 10 people I just rattled off to you, I did the math before, they are worth a combined $600 million. And that is 10 of the roughly 530 representatives that sit in Washington, D.C., and are currently trying to decide whether or not you deserve to be homeless, whether or not your kids deserve to have food, and whether or not they're going to be bothered coming back from their month-long vacation early. I mean, it is summer. You do got to take the grandkids to Martha's Vineyard. What kind of shit-ass grandparent do you want to be, right? Oh, wait, what's that? You're watching this and you're a grandparent and you're helping your child, your grandchild, like set up their bed in the back of your Honda Accord? Yeah, that must be rough. Don't take it out on Greg, though, okay? Oh, and by the way, this $600 million of net worth for only the top 10 representatives? Funny little thing here. If you look in the methodology, the net worth of these figures is based on recent financial filings and a representative. Net worth figures are by no means comprehensive or exact, as members of Congress are not required to report their principal residences or their contents, which is the largest asset for most Americans. These people are worth $600 million, not including all the houses they own and all the shit inside them. And if that is not freaking you the fuck out right now, then let me tell you, as always when I do this, but wait, there's more. It gets worse. I'm just going to put this one up right now. Let's get this over with and let it roll by because, oh, good Lord, you have no idea what I'm about to drop here. That's right. It turns out we have a late entrant into the contest because we forgot that there was an assigned rep midway through the congressional session, and that is Kelly Loeffler in Atlanta. And if you don't know who Kelly Loeffler is, I'm going to tell you. Kelly Loeffler is worth $500 million. She is a junior senator. She is most well known for being a senator from Georgia. As of writing this, she's number one wealthiest member of Congress, roughly $365 million richer than the second richest congressperson, Greg Gianforte. Hey, Greg, all of a sudden, you're not number one. Let's see. Who the hell is Kelly Loeffler? She served as the chief executive officer for BACT, which is a subsidiary of a commodity and financial services company, Intercontinental Exchange. She's also the co-owner of the Atlanta Dream of the WNBA. She was selected by Georgia Governor Brian Kemp to succeed Johnny Isakson after he announced his intention to resign due to health issues. That's right, she was not elected, she was placed. Oh, by the way, she's worth $500 million. I wonder why you would place somebody worth $500 million into a position of power if you were a governor. Quite possibly there could be something to gain. I wonder what the connection will be and if I'll get to it in the next 3 sentences. She's also worked for Citibank, the Crossroads Group, and William & Blair & Company. In 2020, Loeffler and her husband sold millions of dollars in stock in companies vulnerable to COVID-19 pandemic after learning privileged information. The couple lives in a $10.5 million estate in Tuxedo Park in Atlanta, Georgia. At the time, it set the record for the most expensive home ever sold in Atlanta. And this is where I remind you that Atlanta is home to many hip-hop moguls, rap superstars, and professional athletes from the NFL and the NBA and Major League Baseball. And none of them have ever had a house as expensive as Kelly Loeffler's house. Oh, by the way, her wealth is derived from her husband, Jeffrey Loeffler, who is founder and chairman and CEO of Intercontinental Exchange. You know, the company that she was working at? Yeah. Oh, and he's the chairman of the New York Stock Exchange. So if you take number 10 off the list, you take Kelly Loeffler, you put her number 1, you know how much the top 10 reps are worth out of the 535 reps in government? $1.1 billion with a B. And again, if you don't know how much a billion is compared to a million seconds is a week and a half. A billion seconds is 31 years. That's how much money they have. These are the people who are trying to decide whether or not you or your family gets to live or die, okay? They closed your businesses. They keep opening and closing your schools. It's absolute chaos. And rather than make sure that the American people had enough money to get through the next month while they were on vacation, they left. They abandoned you. Them and their $1.1 billion.